Welcome back, and you're back with us on ABR. Starting off as the Haruhiko Kuroda, who has been endorsed by the lower house of parliament to become the Bank of Japan's governor, clearing the first hurdle in Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's plan to install a central bank leadership in favor of more easing. Lawmakers in the chamber, which is dominated by the ruling coalition, today also approved Kikuo Iwata and Hiroshi Nakaso for 2 deputy governor posts. Abe now needs to get his nominations through an upper house vote tomorrow, where his Liberal Democratic Party lacks a majority. The largest opposition parties pledged to reject Iwata, who was advocated greater monetary stimulus since the 1990s, while backing Kuroda adds to the risk of the BOJ board, where there is less support for boosting asset purchases. The focus is now on the upper house. If all 3 nominees are approved, they would have to prepare the ground for speedier monetary stimulus. Now, the yen paired gains rising 0.2% to 95.94 per dollar after earlier touching 95.45. And much has been speculated that Kuroda may call an emergency board meeting before the next scheduled gathering on April 3 to 4. But nevertheless, Kuroda must be confirmed again to serve for the regular 5-year period beginning at April 9, according to the BOJ. The second vote is thought as a technicality, where the DPJ is unlikely to reverse its support for Kuroda.
And on to a story from Singapore. Despite a record of 14.4 million tourists visiting Singapore last year, what they spent did not keep pace with the rise in numbers. And according to preliminary estimates by Singapore Tourism Board, or STB, last year's visitor numbers were up 9% on 13.2 million who came in 2011. They spent 23 billion, a record of Singapore dollars. However, it was just 3.6% more than the 22.2 billion Singapore dollars the year before. According to Second Minister for Trade and Industry, S. Iswaran, the next phase of growth would have to come from increasing visitor spending rather than just numbers. Meanwhile, analysts say one way will be to get tourists to stay longer, which could be a challenge given the high hotel room rates. Average rates here climbed to a record high of 261 Singapore dollars last year, making it one of the priciest in the region. According to the Ministry of Trade and Industry's 2012 Economic Survey of Singapore, Jonathan Galovis, Managing Director of California-based Galovis & Company, which specializes in tourism, casinos, and government strategies, believes Singapore should try to stay relevant to the middle-class tourists from India and China by sharply increasing the number of the high-quality 3-star hotel rooms. Back to Thailand. Thailand's parliamentary today endorsed the Thai-Chilean Free Trade Agreement, which, when taking effect in the 4th quarter, should benefit Thailand's export and investment. The Commerce Ministry is now preparing for the signing to pave way for aviation of the agreement in the 4th quarter. According to the ministry, at least 90% of goods traded by the 2 countries would be immediately subjected to a 0 tariff rate. The tariffs of the remaining 10% would be gradually reduced. For Thailand, exports to benefit from the lower tariffs include automobile, processed fish, polymer, electrical appliance, and construction materials. Chile is also expected to see an increase in bronze and iron ore exports.
And before we leave you tonight with the U.S. stock market updates, the U.S. stocks have climbed, sending the Standard & Poor's 500 index towards a record high as jobless claims unexpectedly dropped last week. Now the S&P 500 rose 0.4% to 1,560.31 at 9:48 a.m. in New York. The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 54.26 points, or 0.4% to 14,509.54 points, extending its record high. And trading in S&P 500 stocks was about in line with a 30-day average at this time of day. The S&P 500 is about 5 points away from its record closing level of 1,565.15 set in October 2007, where the gorge has more than doubled from its bottom in 2009. fueled by corporate earnings that topped estimates and monetary stimulus from the Federal Reserve. The Dow has set record closing highs for 7 straight days.
And to give the latest updates for our Thai audience, I will speak in Thai สำหรับตลาดสหรัฐนะครับดาวโจนส์ก็เปิดอยู่ที่ 14,516.72 นะครับบวก 0.41% ส่วน NASDAQ เองนะครับเปิดอยู่ที่ 3,256.87 จุดนะครับเพิ่มขึ้น 1.82% S&P ครับเปิดอยู่ที่ 1,560.47 จุดนะครับบวก 2.57% ครับ
Well, all in the positive land today. And that's it for our program tonight on ABR. We thank you for watching, but do tune back in again every weekday on Krungthep Thurakit TV at 9 to 10 p.m. I'm Jury Kitisin.
And I am สถาปัตย์แพทย์ทอง สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ